too lazy to get one. The kids are running all around. I just want to do it while they're quiet and watching a movie.
So Ty doesn't know that we're live already, but basically what he's saying is that he doesn't have a hat on today. Welcome back to the Brews and Bets. This is UFC 232, Jones versus Gustafsson 2. This is Steve Ricciardi with his Eat Clean Bro hat on. Again, one of our official sponsors. Actually, really like this hat. I wear it out every once in a while, although it's a little cold here in Jersey. Ty's going for the no hat look tonight. So Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. You kind of caught me off guard with going live. I didn't know we were setting that up yet.
Yeah,
I was looking over my basketball stuff.
You know what? I gotta check. I put in a couple bets tonight, and I gotta check some of those scores. So yeah, you bring me back to reality.
Yeah, I was making my late night lineup, and kind of caught me off guard.
Fantasy factor?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, if anybody, go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, no. If you guys haven't signed up, or even if you have, we'll post a link. So actually, Fantasy Factor is doing a pretty cool tournament for the NFL playoffs. I don't know if you've ever played the like a regular, I guess it's a season-long playoffs. They're having a similar type competition where it's a $50 buy-in. You make a new team every week, and it's kind of like a cumulative 3-week tournament. And man, they got a pretty nice prize pool. I went ahead and entered it. It's a $55 tournament, and I think that if we get enough people, maybe we'll run a promotion. If anybody can beat me in there, maybe we'll do a little giveaway.
I wouldn't mind getting in that. I like that idea. You know, one lineup a week, and you're in it for 3 weeks, and the cumulative score.
Yeah.
Not at all. All right, so let's get into this card. I guess I should introduce some of my bets.
Well, before we get into the card, we kind of discussed both of us are going to start a little keto diet, and
we did.
Yeah, and so we got to talk about terms of a little wager or something.
Oh, okay. You're saving it for online, so go ahead. Tough talker. Go ahead, John Jones. What do you got to say for yourself now?
No, I mean we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but I kind of wanted to hash it out and see, keep us both motivated and stuff.
Well, listen, I'm motivated because this will actually be my second weight loss contest, I guess, that I'm doing. So we both weighed in, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's really up to you. I don't know what you have in mind here. Is this a monetary wager? Is this a?
I mean,
what are we talking about?
We could do monetary, or I mean, at the end of it, one of us could enter like $100 single entry, and we just split it 50-50. But the loser of the bet pays for the entry. I'm open to whatever.
No, I'm open to that because I figure we'd do like $100 bet. So yeah. That's not a bad idea. And then we can basically pick an event because we're going until January 30th, right?
January 30th, yeah.
All right, so we'll go to January 30th. We'll pick an event, and then the loser has to pay for an entry, and we could do the entry right on here, and everybody can track it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, that was easy enough.
Well, we'll discuss over a message or something what our current weigh-in is, so that way we could kind of track it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem giving mine. I'm a fat bastard right now, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I weighed in this morning at 181. So,
what did I weigh in yesterday? 2 nights last night? No, it was last night. 217.8, I think it was. I think it was 217.8. Now, did you have any clothes on? I had sweatpants and a t-shirt on.
I just had my boxers on.
Okay, so I mean, if you want to take off, 2 pounds or something like that. But I had sweatpants, t-shirt, socks, underwear on when I weighed in. Okay. Not that it matters. I think you're gonna wind up beating me anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have a problem.
Jerk.
I drop pretty quick. It's that former making weight dedication.
Yeah, I think it's my old age. I just turned 40, so and again with a kid, there's no way. I'm gonna be looking at even more.
I'm 32 with 2 kids though. So
Well, technically, I do have two kids. I have a young child that I need to get to
yeah.
bed because he wakes up in like 2 hours for his bottle. I'm gonna have to make that. So I'm gonna start by just giving some of the bets that I played, and I think Ty is only in agreement with one of them. So I took Volkanovski, who actually is he on the main card? No, he is on the main card.
He
So
is on the main
let's
card.
let's hold off on that one. So I took Megan Anderson plus 145, a 10-unit bet. I love Megan Anderson. Montel Jackson, I put 3 units at minus 145, and then Curtis Millender, I have at minus 150. Those are the 3 bets that I've made already. I also have Megan Anderson wins by TKO KO at plus 420. I took fight doesn't go to decision for the Michael Chiesa fight. That's minus 155. I really like Chiesa to win that fight. And then I have Cyborg and Amanda Nunes over 2.5 rounds, which I actually really like. I don't think it's gonna. I do think it's gonna finish, but I think it'll get over the 2.5 rounds. But those are the bets that I have. Ty, you have any bets that are on the undercard? Although I did give my Cyborg bet, but did you have anything on the undercard other than we're gonna break down the main card in a few minutes.
Yeah, we kind of talked about on the Quan Edge podcast. We broke down in detail all the other fights, and I haven't looked at too much of the betting yet, just because I was trying to be able to go to the fights down in LA since it got moved. I'm hoping that the ticket prices dip down a little bit because I don't think they're going to sell very well on 3 days' notice. So I was hoping that I could actually make the 6 or 7 hour trip and get down there and go to them. So I kind of want to wait on my bets and fantasy stuff until the last minute. But I do like Montel Jackson's line at minus 160. He's 150, 160, depending on what site you're in right now. And I know it's we're in disagreement, but I like Kat Zingano at minus 150.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I know that goes against your 10-unit play, but I think that she's not going to have a problem, really. If it stays standing, Anderson's going to win. I think that Zingano is going to get her to the ground pretty easily. And I actually don't mind taking Arlovsky at plus money, which is, I kind of feel iffy saying that, but at plus 155, I think he's a lot better than Walt Harris.
I mean, you should feel dirty saying that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and Arlovsky's one guy that I've never won money off of, so take that advice with a picogram of salt.
Anyone not laughing right now just did not watch the press conference today. The fact that John Jones couldn't even say that and screwed it up, that was the funniest part of the press conference. And Dana White trying to tell him, you know what, maybe you should leave that to the Golden Snitch. Let him explain it. By the way, I haven't watched it yet, but supposedly the Golden Snitch was on Joe Rogan's podcast today, so I will definitely listen to that tomorrow in the car.
Yeah, so I actually was getting a workout in earlier, and I was listening to it, and it's actually a really good listen. I mean, I think we both assumed that it would be, but he was actually going in with the science of it and actually how the test came out to be positive and why it didn't show up on other tests, but then all of a sudden showed up and then didn't show up on the next one. And it made for a really strong case that Jones didn't do anything extra than what he was punished for already. I guess in other sports they've seen similar occurrences, and I recommend listening to it before the fights just for some context. But I mean, the reason why it was switched from Nevada to California is basically because with the holidays and stuff, the commission wasn't going to be able to get together. Their next planned meeting was in March, and I mean, it was either take the main event off and push it to March, or take it to the commission that's 3-4 hours away that has already dealt with it in all the logistics of it.
Now, let me ask you this. When you say he basically already did the crime,
mm-hmm.
Are you talking about justice past, sample, or are you talking about the previous sample?
So the previous one that he tested positive for after the Cormier fight that he
Right.
was suspended for, it's the same substance that was in his body. And so kind of what Nowitzki was saying was that it's the same substance and it's a long-term steroid that stays in your body for a long period of time. It's not a fast-acting one. And so he tested positive for a metabolite, which is not the actual substance. It's the reaction that your body has to the substance being in your body. So it was long term, which means it could have been in fat cells that got released in the bloodstream or something along those lines. But it wasn't a big enough dose to suggest that he took anything new. And I guess USADA sent it to private labs also, and all the scientists came back conclusive that it wasn't. And the only reason they couldn't have it in Nevada is because the commission wouldn't meet to license on a positive test in the amount of time that before the event. Whereas California has already met on that particular instance and punished him for the initial case.
All right. So for the initial case, he definitely took a steroid.
Yeah. And he says he still to this day says he didn't knowingly take it, but it was in a supplement. So
right, it was like a tainted supplement, right?
Yeah, and which is why he didn't get the long-term suspension. Why he got the shorter version of it is because I guess USADA did test it and found that it wasn't a supplement, which it kind of sounds like bullshit. But the supplements that you could get over the counter at GNC, they're not FDA regulated. So really, a lab in China could be cutting some kind of steroid in with these other supplements, and it could get some crossover.
Ty, I don't know if you can say bullshit on YouTube, but
my bad.
Yeah, my bad too. All right, so this is a long-term steroid. Like how long? I didn't know that a steroid could stay in your system this long.
I didn't either, but apparently in other sports they have had this come up also.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, so my name's Steve Ricciardi again, Tyler Beard. We have a lot of knowledge in the UFC MMA game, as Tyler was just talking about the steroid thing. I was getting a little education myself because I wasn't up to date with some of those things. But we do the Quant Edge MMA podcast. We provide MMA content, UFC content for the Quant Edge. Myself, I'll be writing an article. I'm going to probably start tonight. Finish it up tomorrow. It'll be on thequantedge.com. Tyler also does an article, although within the next few weeks, he may be doing an optimizer for the Quant Edge. So you would get our podcast, you would get my article, and then I would work with Tyler, but it would mostly be Tyler's projections with an optimizer. So if anybody wants to take advantage of that, they have a 1-week trial offer that you can sign up. You can only sign up once, but if you haven't signed up yet, you can take advantage of that. And if you would like to get 33% off your first month, you can use our code Brews. Brews will get you 33% off the first month. And again, next month is the first UFC event on ESPN Plus. I will be covering that event, ESPN Plus 1 over in Brooklyn. They actually just announced another fight that I was excited about. I sent it in the group chat before. I can't remember who it is now, but it was a fight that I definitely would like to see. So I'll be there live, and we're going to get into this main card. Tyler, anything else I forgot to add before we get into the Mendes Volkanovski fight?
Well, I'm just looking at the message you sent over. It was Dennis Bermudez and T. Edwards. That's a nice one.
Yeah, T. Edwards definitely underperformed last time out, but I like that fight.
Yeah.
All right, so Chad Mendes and Alexander Volkanovski. We just broke this fight down from a DraftKings perspective. From a betting perspective, I like Alexander Volkanovski. You can kind of tell where my head's at with DraftKings also, but I think that Volkanovski has a path to victory here. A lot of people are on Mendes because he's a better wrestler and he's a better striker. That's what Ty's probably going to tell you. I've heard him talk about this before, so I kind of know. But the thing from Volkanovski that I like is I like his pace. It is true he's 18-1. Mendes is 18-4. Volkanovski has never fought anybody this good. But I do think that he can put a pace on Mendes that may be able to wear him down. So in those first 2 rounds, if Volkanovski can win rounds 1 or 2, I think he's the favorite to win round 3, and in my opinion, is going to win this fight. It is favored to go to decision, and I think it's going to be a split decision. So I already bet Volkanovski. Ty, what do you think in this fight, Mendes and Volkanovski?
Yeah, I kind of think.
Steal your thunder, by the way, and tell everybody what you were going to say. But
no, I mean, no secret. We just talked for about an hour and a half on the other podcast. We planned to do a short one, and it lasted the longest ever. So we had a lot of good stuff to say. No, so I see Mendes and Volkanovski very similar type fighters. They're both good wrestlers. They both have great takedown defense. They're both good strikers. I think the difference between them is Mendes has a significant edge in the power striking, whereas Volkanovski has the edge in the pressure and technical striking. I kind of think that Volkanovski is gonna try to take this fight to the ground. I don't think that he's gonna have very much success with that, just because Mendes' wrestling is so good. When it's kept standing, I think that Volkanovski is pretty hittable, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mendes catches him with a couple of big punches, maybe puts him down. I don't think he's gonna finish it, but I could definitely see him doing enough to win at least a 29-28 decision. It's not one that I'm confident enough to put money on, but I'm backing Mendes on it.
Okay, so we're both calling for split decisions here.
No, I don't think it's going to be a split. I'm saying that Mendes will win at least 2 rounds.
Okay, 29-28 unanimous.
Yeah, either that or 30-27. But I think Mendes is the better fighter. I see them pretty much as a similar type fighter, just Mendes is better everywhere.
Okay. Now this next fight, the way that I break this fight down is, I think there's 2 paths to victory. There's one for Latifi and there's one for Anderson. I think Latifi can finish this fight. I think if this fight goes to decision, I think it's going to favor Anderson because I think it went to decision because he's going to be able to work his takedown game. So again, Corey Anderson, at his price, I don't really like it much at all. I'm gonna guess that this price must have closed up a little bit now that I look at it. Right, Latifi's at -140. I'm gonna have to put a play on Latifi at -140. Are you in agreement here? Is this -140
so
on Latifi?
Latifi actually opened up at -110 and then jumped to -190 right away, and then it's kind of coming back towards where it's at, and it's settling around 140 right now.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised because I'm looking at his DraftKings price here, and I kind of expected him to be more like, -180, -200. So I'm a little surprised here.
I think that Corey Anderson is going to be heavily owned on DraftKings. I know we don't really talk about that on this podcast. We save that for the Quan Edge, but I think that Corey Anderson is going to be heavily owned, and I think that's a mistake.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that Latifi is going to win this, and I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks him out. And it actually wouldn't be surprising if Anderson gets him down to the ground if Latifi submits him. But I think that Latifi's a pretty safe play at -140. I'm actually going to probably put a wager on that, whether I go or don't go to the fights. And I wouldn't under 2.5 rounds at +120 is pretty enticing also.
Not for nothing, but Latifi is +120 to win inside the distance. You might as well just play under 2.5 rounds. That's what I was actually looking at. I was going to mention to you. If you think Latifi is going to win, just play under 2.5 rounds. Yeah,
and then just in case there's a fluke something, you're covered.
All right, I'm writing that down because I'm about to put a play in on that. I want to make sure that I remember that. Under 2.5 in the Latifi fight. All right, and again, I'm in Jersey, so I can play on DraftKings. So yeah, do we have anything to add to that? I think there's 2 paths to victory. I think Corey Anderson can use his takedown game to prolong the fight, maybe get to decision. But I kind of favor Latifi finishing this fight earlier. Are we in agreement? I mean, I know we're in agreement, but
yeah, we're this is one of the few fights that we actually agree on this card.
All right, so I think we agree on everything the rest of the way. Michael Chiesa and Carlos Condit. Who I'll let you take this one, Ty.
Yeah.
Who you?
So Condit, he retired 2 years ago, came back. He's looked like a shell of the fighter ever since then. He's shown that he can't really stop a takedown. He only stops about 37% of the takedowns posed against him. Chiesa is not a great wrestler, but his game plan is to get it to the ground. With Condit not being able to really stop takedowns, Chiesa should be able to get it there. And Condit has kind of shown in the last few fights that his submission defense is gone with the rest of his career. I actually like Chiesa to win by submission at plus 200. I kind of feel like Chiesa at minus 165, his only real way to win this is by submission. He's not going to knock Condit out. I don't think that he's going to win a decision if it goes there. So I like him to win by a choke. I think that he'll get the submission, and plus 200 is a nice value there.
Yeah, Ty, I am in agreement with what you're saying with that. I actually wrote it down right as you were saying it. So I think we're in agreement with that fight also. So I think there's really only one fight that we're not in agreement with here. And I think there's a bunch of plays that we like. I like the under 2.5 for Latifi, and I do like Chiesa at plus 200 for that sub prop. So let's see if there's any bets that we like for Amanda Nunes and Cyborg. If anybody watched the press conference today, Cyborg is, and we all kind of knew this, but Cyborg is definitively bigger than Amanda Nunes. I actually bet over 2.5 rounds previously. I regret it a little bit, but the way that I originally saw this fight playing out is that I think Amanda Nunes is either going to go for early takedown, or she's going to get on her bicycle and really make Cyborg chase after her a little bit. Now, Ty brought up some great points. I'm going to let him present his own points, but I just considered that Nunes was going to be able to do that, and maybe, she's tough. She is very tough. This is her first fight at 145. I think she's here for the wrong reasons and took this fight for the wrong reasons. But one of the good things is she really doesn't have anything to lose. But with that said, is she really trying to win this fight, or is she trying to last? And I kind of think she's going to try to last in this fight and give a good performance, get in the cage with Cyborg, go a couple rounds. So that's what I originally liked with the over 2.5 rounds. But the gas tank has been an issue, and again, I don't want to steal Ty's thunder, but he has a little analysis on that also. So Ty, who do you like here?
Yeah, so the one thing that you mentioned that I kind of disagreed with on the Quant Edge podcast was that Nunes was going to get on her bicycle and kind of stick and move. That's not Nunes's game plan. At least it hasn't been to this point in her career. Even if she tries to do that, Cyborg is really experienced in Muay Thai. If you look back at her Lion Fights, Lion Fights is a Muay Thai kickboxing organization. If you look back at her fights, a lot of people have tried to do that to her, and she's really good at cutting off the cage or in the ring in that realm. But she's really good at cutting off the cage and forcing her opponent to kind of engage with her. So if Nunes takes that approach, she's going to get the cage cut off, and she's going to be forced to be in the pocket with Cyborg. Cyborg has such a power edge that that's not where she wants to fight. I think that Nunes is going to come in straight from the start and try to take this fight to the ground. She's not going to be able to, and Cyborg's just going to keep her standing and just pick her apart, and I think that she's going to destroy her in this fight. In terms of a bet on this fight, I don't really love any of the lines. I think that Cyborg's going to win by knockout, but I don't know if I want to give up enough that much juice, because inside the distance is minus 125, and I'm not seeing a TKO prop for her. And so what I'm going to do personally, how I'm going to attack this is I'm going to put Cyborg in a parlay at minus 235, and I'm going to pair her with probably somebody in the next fight and maybe one other fight on the undercard.
Do you like just to get a save 50 points there? Fight doesn't go to decision minus 180.
I don't hate it, but I think the way to attack this one is just to have her in a parlay, and I think it's pretty safe.
Okay. But
do not go to decision is not a terrible play at minus 180, just not one that I'm going to do.
Yeah, I just noticed you said that you think Cyborg's going to win this early, so I just figured maybe you want to save 50 points on that. But minus 235 is, yeah. I mean, I think it's very safe.
Well, I think that she's a sure thing, and 50 points is not enough juice to pretty much
play you.
Yeah. I mean, if it was like even, definitely, but.
So you don't want to do that Cyborg Megan Anderson parlay there.
That's I don't want Megan Anderson.
Listen, some people are gonna have regrets after this one.
Hey, right, so I'm probably not gonna have nearly the same amount of money that you do on that one. That's not one of my top plays. So if you win that and I win the rest of them, it's a good night for both of us.
This is true. That's an optimistic way to look at this.
Yeah.
So last fight of the night is John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. Again, this is UFC 232. This is their rematch, and I don't think it's going to go much differently than it did the first time. John Jones is minus 265. I do have a few unit play on him at minus 265. I'm thinking right now I may even want to parlay him in Cyborg, maybe on fight night, see how my earlier plays go, and then I may put a couple bucks on them early once my Megan Anderson bet comes in. But for the most part, I really like John Jones here. I think he's the class of the division, and it's really just a matter of staying clean. I know there were a lot of issues, as Ty mentioned earlier, with the steroid stuff and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, I think we're gonna get this fight. We're not gonna have any funny business after this fight. Now that they kind of have those samples at least accounted for to be able to get to this fight and get to fight night. So again, I think John Jones is going to be able to outstrike Gustafsson. The one thing I was worried about that Ty kind of broke down for me was I thought that Gustafsson would really get on his bike again, just like Amanda Nunes, and really work his boxing game similar to what he did with Glover Teixeira. But I think that John Jones at this point is going to be able to close the distance, use his striking, use his kicks from distance to really engage Gustafsson more than I originally had thought. So I really do like John Jones here. I would not be surprised though if it goes to decision. I don't think that's something that for the most part, if you think that either one of these guys is going to finish this fight under 4.5 rounds at minus 105, you're basically getting a pick 'em there. I think that's very safe. If you think it's going to finish, so you might as well just play that. But I kind of think that the odds there are pretty good. I mean, I think it's 50-50 to go to decision or to finish. So Ty, I'll throw it to you. Does Jones finish or does he go to decision? What do you think?
Well, I kind of broke down this fight on the Quant Edge podcast, and I gave a kind of a insider information type story. So I'm teasing that here. I don't want to tell it again because the Quant Edge pays us for that kind of information. So if you guys want to check that out, by all means, go to the Quant Edge, use our promo code, get 33% off. I think that Jones is going to win by knockout. I have no doubt that he's actually going to win the fight, which is kind of odd to say because it seems like a lot of people are on Gustafsson at this point. I think that him by TKO at plus 280 is not a terrible play. Inside the distance at plus 116, also not a terrible play. I'm gonna have him in a parlay with Cyborg and probably. I haven't decided which is going to be my next play on the undercard. I might actually just do it with Latifi, but I know that Cyborg and John Jones are going to be in my parlay, and I might play some on him inside the distance as well.
And again, just to give, I don't want to give anything else away. But Ty did. What was the tournament that you won on DraftKings to get that
So
meet and greet?
So DraftKings a couple years ago ran a special VIP tournament where I actually won it. They flew me down to Vegas. I got 2 seats on the floor for the Nick Diaz versus Anderson Silva fight. They put me up in a suite. It was during Super Bowl weekend, and I went to a room and met with John Jones. We were supposed to meet for 15, 20 minutes. At that point, I wasn't really a fan of him. Wasn't excited to do it. They took me away from the blackjack table where I was up about $400. Anyway, met with him. He was actually a really, really down to earth guy. I was kind of surprised because his ego in the media doesn't seem that way. Really good guy. Him and Melky Kall were in the room. We actually hung out for about 2 hours, and then seen each other the next day at the fights. Yeah, it was just a great experience. And one of the things that we talked about during those 2 hours was his first.
Whoa, Ty, are we giving inside information?
No. I'm just saying one of the things we talked about was his first fight with Gustafsson and his mindset, and that's kind of what I talked about on the Quan Edge.
Okay, that was a tease. All right.
Yeah, it's just a tease, but no. Yeah, so we actually talked about that in depth. So I think that I have a perspective on this fight that really nobody else has, and so I'm pretty confident in this fight.
So again, it may be time to sign up for the Quan Edge. You can use our promo code Brews for 33% off. I'm going to try to do something a little special for the first ESPN card on January 19th. I'll be covering the event. I put in for my press credentials a few days ago, so I'll be over in Brooklyn for that event. So maybe I can get some memorabilia. Maybe we could raffle it off on the Quan Edge. Maybe do like a retweet thing or something like that. Ty, what do you think about that one?
Either that, or what we could do is I'm willing to say that I'm going to win that Fantasy Factor tournament. So if anybody could beat me, they could be in the running for some of the prizes.
Okay, yeah, we could do something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Any other bets you like on this card, Ty? I know I volunteer a lot. You may be going to the event, so I know you said you may not be betting or playing DraftKings as much as you want. But anything else you're looking at?
I kind of like the the Sire line. I know you're on Melinda, but yeah, before this Proper 12, I could say his name. I don't know about now.
Oh yeah, I still got a couple bottles of Proper 12. Maybe we could raffle one of those off.
Well, no, and I know that we're both doing the keto diet for our weight loss challenge. Got to switch from the beer because it's not keto, but whiskey is.
Oh, is it? I didn't know it was.
It is. So
you know what? I just got a bottle.
If you notice, it's almost empty. That's what 2 podcasts will do.
I didn't know that whiskey was part of the keto diet. Now I know what I can drink. I actually just got a bottle of the Jack Daniel's Sinatra. Have you ever tried that?
No, I heard that was great though. I'm a whiskey guy.
I'm a whiskey guy too. I got a nice bottle of bourbon and a nice bottle of Jack Daniel's Sinatra. So
well, you know what?
That was my Christmas present, Christmas present.
So with the Proper 12, I'm not usually a fan of the Irish whiskey. I'm usually a fan of just the whiskey, and I didn't really like the Proper 12 at first, but as I get to the bottom of the bottle, it's not too bad.
Well, it must be aged a little bit more at the bottom, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but the flavor is a lot better than it was when I opened it.
Oh, I think that's our cue to just sign off right now. I'm gonna have to get this tweeted out for everybody. But again, the Quan Edge, I gave a bunch of bets. I actually bet pretty heavy on this one. I've had a great month, and for the most part, yeah, get in on the Quan Edge. DraftKings, they have a great betting tool going on right now. We were talking with Elliot today. They're probably going to do another offering next month. They just came out with a basketball best ball thing that they're doing for $20 for the month. So there's a lot of different options on the Quan Edge. By all means, jump in now. I'm Steve Ricciardi. Ty, sign us off.
Well, what is the best ball? I haven't checked that out.
It's the Quant Edge is offering a basketball. It's going to be a podcast. It's going to be articles. It's going to be the betting package. So it's basically like, I think they call it the best ball, but they're basically offering like 4 different things all for basketball. That's basically what they're doing.
Okay, shoot, I'll check that out too.
Yeah. So again, as I said, this is Brews and Bets UFC 232. Steve Ricciardi and Tyler Beard signing.